Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today is Thursday, March 14th, 2019. Happy Pi Day. Today we're going to be talking about Beto O'Rourke announcing his run for president of the United States for 2020. I do not think that this is too surprising. Beto O'Rourke, number one, ran back in 2018 and got amazing name recognition. There is no reason as to why he wouldn't run in the eyes of, I guess, himself and the members of his Texas campaign back in 2018. However, he may not be the strongest candidate that Democrats can run, and many Democrats do know this. For one, he's not doing necessarily the best in terms of opinion polling nationwide. I mean, right now I have Texas numbers up, which I can get to in a second. So we're actually going to go to the latest Dem primary polls, which all show Biden ahead, number one, but O'Rourke comes in around fourth, fifth place a lot of the time. 6%, 7%, 5%, 6%. It's never really hit double digits, and that's pretty much expected. If we're looking at the overall, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's around 6 nationwide, and the most he's hit is at 9%. Now, obviously, coming from a Senate race where you just recently lost, this is an amazing thing for him. He's at possibly nearing double digits at an average of around 5% for someone that wasn't even known until 2 years ago. And that's something that I really think that Beto O'Rourke is really caught up in. And there's a reason why he ran. I mean, he said he wasn't going to run before, and now he has decided that he is going to run. A lot of Democrats do see him as VP potential. This video is not made for the sole purpose of a prediction, but rather a longer discussion. I probably won't be able to talk about it as much as I would for a live stream. Obviously, a live stream goes on for hours, but I will be doing a live stream sometime this week, probably tomorrow or Saturday. But as of right now, we're just going to be making a video discussing it. And this is substantial news. Joe Biden has yet to announce his presidential election campaign, and a lot of Democrats want Biden and Beto O'Rourke together on one ticket. And it does make sense having the young and the old together going into an election where, they could make a lot of states closer, like Texas. The DNC announced that they're gonna, this is not recent, but if you hadn't known, the DNC announced that they are holding the Democratic National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Another Rust Belt state, if you remember back in 2016, it was held in Pennsylvania. They did lose Pennsylvania in 2016. They're probably not going to lose Wisconsin in 2020, but Beto O'Rourke, well, a lot of Democrats look at states like Texas and Arizona as to areas for Beto O'Rourke to win in. And we're going to go ahead and characterize all of the safe Republican states. These are the first states that we already know are going to go to the GOP. By the way, later tonight, I will be coming out with a video that is going to discuss an interesting Democratic primary poll, a very recent one from the Morning Consult that I do think has some interesting results. Sorry, my Discord notifications are on. But by the way, if you haven't joined the Discord, the link is in the description below for my Let's Talk Election server Discord, where you can talk to me personally. But besides that, back to the main point, I'm actually going to be doing an analysis of the Morning Consult poll. Morning Consult, and they've really been coming out with a lot of data. I mean, almost every single poll is from Morning Consult or Politico and Morning Consult. There's very few national polls that weren't taken by them, and they do have pretty accurate national approval ratings. So I think adding that all in together could be really, really interesting in terms of talking about it for a long time during a video. Again, looking at the Republican states for Donald Trump, obviously certain states are going to go a certain way. But Beto O'Rourke, he has more experience politically in terms of, I guess you can say, hands-on experience. I mean, he was a representative from Texas, so it's not like this is his first time or would be his first time being elected if he does end up winning in this election. Obviously, I don't see the future. I don't know if O'Rourke's the nominee or not. But today we're just going to be discussing the possibility of it. And to be completely honest with you, the Democratic Party has some other options that, sure, they're more experienced, but they're not as electable as Beto O'Rourke. And that's one of the things that probably irks and gets to the core of many long Democrats that have decided to run. I mean, can you imagine the frustration that someone like Elizabeth Warren would have tying with someone who wasn't known 2 years ago? It's pretty interesting because she wasn't really known until 6 years ago. If you look at other people, if you look at Julian Castro, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. I mean, he was a secretary on President Barack Obama. You should be known at that point, and the fact that Beto O'Rourke beats him in his home state in terms of competition against Donald Trump, Pretty surprising. Okay, Beto O'Rourke, actually, I had that Texas poll up. Loses to Trump by 1%, where Castro loses by 5%. And Castro definitely has been a little bit more established, and Beto O'Rourke is already surpassing him on a national level. And a lot of these Democrats are obviously going to drop out. We have Hickenlooper, Castro, Gabbard, Gillibrand, Inslee, all in the lower areas. Gillibrand, a lot of people did think that she could have a real shot early on. In fact, some of these numbers have stayed consistent, even though Gillibrand was perceived as this Hillary Clinton type candidate going to walk in, come close to the nomination. She's peaked at 2%. Okay, if we look at Gabbard, she's peaked at 8%. And I do not trust that poll whatsoever. But she peaked at 8% in that one poll. Hickenlooper peaked at 1%. Still more than Jay Inslee, Kirsten Gillibrand, Tulsi Gabbard, Julian Castro, Hickenlooper. Notice one thing that's pretty interesting, doesn't necessarily have to do with Beto O'Rourke, but John Delaney's not on here. He announced in 2017, tells you a lot. But Amy Klobuchar is losing to Beto O'Rourke, but then it goes from Beto O'Rourke is being beat by Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and of course Joe Biden. Now, Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden are probably going to be the last two in this race, but there is a very real possibility that Biden does choose O'Rourke to be his Democratic vice presidential candidate. But enough about the primary. Looking at a general election, a lot of Democrats do think that there is a real possibility that Texas goes blue. I'm not seeing it. If we're looking at the 2016 presidential election map, and yes, if we do flip the state of Texas, Hillary Clinton would have been elected president. But again, how likely is it that the other states are going to remain the same while Texas goes blue? Not very likely. Obviously, if Texas goes blue, states like Arizona, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are probably going to go blue as well, and then it ends up being a Democratic landslide. But Texas, Arizona, Florida are not necessarily the favorites for Democrats right now. And I get the argument. Beto O'Rourke is from the state of Texas. He should win. If it was just based off winning your home state, well, then Donald Trump would win in the state of New York. Obviously, Texas is a lot closer than the state of New York in terms of being closer to be classified as a swing state, but it still holds its Republican identity, as it did in 2018. Keep in mind, Beto O'Rourke did not win in 2018, and sure, in a presidential election year, turnout is definitely higher, but in a Democratic wave year, you didn't win your Senate seat. Now, obviously, he was not expected to win. It is a stereotypical Republican state. I did not think he had a really real shot at winning that Senate seat. He did lose it by 3%, but that's not exactly the largest margin. So obviously, Beto O'Rourke is going to do better than other Democrats in the state of Texas. The most I could see it going down to is a tilt. I still think the GOP is going to remain, the majority in Texas. Even Beto O'Rourke is that nominee, or even if he's on the VP candidate list for Biden, he's probably going to bring it down to a lean, maybe tilt column. But if we're looking there, Beto O'Rourke, sure, he's like Obama, sort of. He does have those campaign tactics that we do see parallels between him and President Obama, and I think that's something that's really going to help him. But however, Obama voters aren't exactly the first ones to flock away to Beto O'Rourke. Joe Biden, for one. He obviously is going to retain a number of those Obama voters. I mean, he's already nearing 30% nationwide, and there's over 10 candidates at this point. We can actually see right here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then John Delaney, and then whoever else. But this is actually pretty insane, number one, for me. Looking at Beto O'Rourke, he wasn't known 2 years ago. Okay, he was mentioned in one poll, and it was the biggest thing because he was only losing to Ted Cruz by 4%, 32%, I believe, to 28% in a Texas 2017 poll. I remember talking about it on this channel. I had no idea who that man was, and I had no idea until he had gotten close to winning the primary, then won the primary, obviously, and then to the general election. And yes, starting off, he's doing pretty well. But again, if we're looking at people who have started off before, there are parallels between him and President Obama. President Obama, obviously, was 2004, and then 2008, he won the nomination. Beto O'Rourke, I just don't see it as this being his time to run. His biggest obstacle, in my opinion, would be the Democratic primary. He has so many major names running, and yeah, he is outperforming many of them, but he's also underperforming a lot of them. Joe Biden almost has 6 times the amount of supporters as Beto O'Rourke, and I get it. Beto O'Rourke, he's young, he's enthusiastic. I see the appeal. I see it every day because I obviously I'm not 55, and I do have friends that are full-fledged support for either Bernie Sanders or Beto O'Rourke, and a lot of them are they're younger voters. I mean, they just support him because, in terms of Beto O'Rourke, referring to him, because they see him as someone who's a representative of the younger voters. That's the only area where I really think that Beto O'Rourke can capitalize on. I mean, how many older Americans are going to be, okay, you were a representative a couple times, cool, we're going to elect you president now. That's not going to fly over well, especially looking at the Democratic Party. I mean, we're looking at Joe Biden. He's going to capitalize on his experience in foreign policy, capitalize on his experience as vice president of the United States. One thing that they capitalized in 2016 was Hillary Clinton's experience as Secretary of State, Senator, and First Lady. When we're talking about a number of these candidates, a major thing that they're going to look to is experience, and that's exactly where we're going to see Beto O'Rourke get attacked for. But if we're looking at also the Democratic debates, Beto O'Rourke is probably not going to be a main target. That is one thing you need to watch out for. Again, this is not a prediction video, so I'm not going to finalize a prediction. I'm not going to discuss those Rust Belt states right now. This is all about Beto O'Rourke's candidacy and his chances at winning. And Beto O'Rourke, he's probably, again, like I said, he's probably not going to be attacked much in the debates. A lot of these candidates want him as their VP candidate, or at least on their campaign supporting them. They're not going to fully attack someone and then turn around and be like, that's my VP, just as strong as I am. For the same reason why Hillary Clinton didn't choose Bernie Sanders as her running mate in 2016. Same reason why Barack Obama didn't choose Hillary Clinton as his running mate in 2008. I mean, the only time, Barack Obama chose Joe Biden, obviously. Yeah, there was a point. Joe Biden, I believe this would be his third run for president. But it seems like this is his strongest showing, and he hasn't even announced that he's running yet. So I think that it is a very realistic possibility that Joe Biden wins and chooses Beto O'Rourke as his VP. That's something that a lot of people are probably going to speculate, but we'll actually see eventually if it actually gets to that point and Biden's a nominee and we hear about a VP candidate announcement. But looking at the pure numbers, Beto O'Rourke seems like his biggest obstacle will probably be the Democratic primary. With so many people running against him, it's going to be extremely hard to get that majority or convince a number of superdelegates who are already on edge about voting for outside candidates and probably want to stick with establishment Democrats like Joe Biden. And yes, Beto O'Rourke does have the support of a number of Americans, but also a lot of them are going to be voting actually for Biden, Sanders, Harris, Warren before they get down to O'Rourke. The only real shot I think that he has is if other two candidates like Warren or Booker drop out of the race and then he notches up to 4%, place, and then we see possibly a falling out of Harris, Sanders, or Biden, depending on the circumstances. But as of right now, I do think that Beto O'Rourke has a good shot if he wins the nomination, not so much a good shot at winning said nomination. So that wraps up today's video. I'm going to go more in depth into a morning consult poll later today, so stay tuned for that video in a couple of hours. For Beto O'Rourke, however, I'm probably going to discuss more about him in my Democratic, not predictions live stream, but discussion live stream about a number of these Democratic candidates. I do think that's going to be pretty interesting. So again, if you want me to listen or see your comments on my live stream, just go ahead and join that. Probably in a day or two. But yeah, so again, thank you guys for watching this video. Please comment down suggestions below about what you want me to discuss. I'm trying to draw away from the 2020 Democratic prediction that I do all the time, and I want to discuss a little bit more in depth. I'm also going to be making thumbnails, not for this video, because I'm installing a program tonight actually that will allow me to use it sort of like a template, but it's also not a template. It's just able to put my logo in and have better looking graphics, so that way they don't look like trash, but yeah, so again, thank you guys for watching this video. Comment down suggestions below, and I'll see you all tomorrow.